guess we're going to cover Phrygian dominant. There's a lot of names for this particular mode. For instance, altered Phrygian scale, dominant, flat 2, flat 9, Phrygian scale, sometimes even Mixolydian flat 9, flat 13. So just bear in mind, somebody may name it differently depending on their background and where they come from. So I just prefer Phrygian dominant. It's easy. And explains the Phrygian, usually the flat 2, and dominant, usually the flat 7. So yeah, let's get into it. So it's the 5th mode of harmonic minor. So in A harmonic minor, that would be E. Has a very exotic sound to it. And you've probably used this or experimented with it at least once, In the opening sequence is kind of a mixture between Phrygian dominant and regular Phrygian, and we're not going to go into that now, but it's so compare it to regular Mixolydian or other dominant scales, and then maybe Phrygian, but what you really want to do at first is get these tones in your head, the flat 2 and the flat 6. So the flat 2, the flat 6, and the flat 7 kind of make this scale what it is for me anyway. That's, so maybe at first just play pedal points and just play melodies over the top. Really get the sound embedded in your head. Also helpful to sing out melodies as well. And look at it as its own home plate. The major 1, the major 2, diminished 3, minor 4, diminished 5, augmented 6, minor 7, and 1. So really look at this as its own home plate, not the I'll just kind of play in it. So it's got its own very unique sound. So like normal modes, consider this its own mode, not as part of A harmonic minor, but as sorry, it's a little hard to talk. So a very exotic sound. So I'm going a little overboard here. Let's go ahead and stop. So one of the interesting things about this particular mode is, like Phrygian, it kind of likes the 1 and the 2 and the 7 quite a bit. Just like Phrygian, so we'll start with these 3 chords. You could just arpeggiate. I mean, this is kind of a 1, 2, 7, 1. Sorry for my cheesy piano playing. So alternating between the 1 and the 7 will actually kind of give you an exotic Eastern sound, very that's all I'm doing here. So 1, 7. So very exotic kind of sound. 2, 1, 7, 1. You could do stuff like that. And in this case, I actually use parallelism. It's a cool trick. So you might use it in a kind of a marchy type thing. Something like this. So just 1, 2, and 7 alternating between each, and maybe use better rhythmic values than I did, like with triplets and offs and syncopation, giving kind of an aggressive march. So the 4 chord. And 4 chord goes nicely to the 1 chord. It's pretty. let's just alternate between those two. And so I haven't hit that flat 2 so yet. Now here we'll hit the flat 2. So 1 1 4 1 4 1 4. Common thing to do is 1 4 7 1. Okay. So let's take the kind of the same idea I just did and maybe do it. Just a real mellow feel. So just by off chance, if you ever wonder what these film composers are using when they're doing like Eastern deserty kind of things, they're usually using this scale. So okay, the 7 or the 5-1 is diminished, and it likes to go to the 1, the 5 chord, the diminished. And I often use the half diminished version. With that flat 7, it just gives me more options, especially when it comes to walking bass lines and stuff. But there are very common things like alternating between this kind of rhythmic thing, and then I'm not going to try to play rhythm, and then write some kind of melody over the top of that. Okay, that's really common. The diminished 3, if you just play the root, you get a 7th chord, and if you make it a fully diminished 7th, you'll get a 9 chord on the 1. So just keep that in mind. So you could do just by actually let's do something rhythmic, like something you could write a melody over. So we got a 1, fully diminished 3, 1, fully diminished 3, 1, 7, flat 7, 1. So the fully diminished 3, actually that acts as a leading tone to the 4 chord if you want to. I mean, you don't necessarily have to do that. So you could do something like a 1, fully diminished 7 3, 4, fully diminished 7 3, 4, fully diminished 7 3, 1, fully diminished 7 3, 1. So you notice I could go to the 1 just as easy. So up to speed. Let's do it. Maybe do it arpeggiated. Okay, so the augmented 6 chord, not augmented 6, but the 6 chord that is augmented. Just alternating between that and the 1 is actually kind of mysterious. So, and you could use that effect. It has that flat 6 effect. So you could do something as simple as this. Sounds really mysterious. And you could keep falling or whatever. You could look at the normal resolution of an augmented chord is usually a chord that's a 5th down, so that makes the 2 chord. And so you could use that 1, 6, 2, 7, 1. You could use that as a harmonic sequence. So, and 1, 6, 2, 7, 1. So let's make it a little bit more musical other than just playing chords. I'll just kind of hold this G sharp to the 2 chords common. Do the same thing, maybe higher. So that sounds a little mysterious to me. So not as exotic, but slightly mysterious. Augmented chords also resolve down a minor third, so that could go to the 4 chord. and then you could resolve to the 1 chord. Let's take the actual sequence we did before and then resolve it to the 2 chord first, and then on the second time resolve it to the 4 chord. See if I can remember this. Now this time I'll resolve it to the just using passing tones and stuff, but so very usable chords that I did use in the stuff like the 1 flat 9, the dominant flat 9, a 7 with a flat 7. These are very common. Okay. A 2 with a major 7th. Okay, that's common too. The 3 fully diminished, common. This 5 half diminished, very common. Let's just play through a bunch. We're not going to make it very musical. 1, 7, flat 7, 1, dominant flat 9, a 7, flat 7, 2, major 7th, 5, half diminished. So yeah, these chords, 7th chords, upper extension chords, very usable. Even though this is mostly triadic based, I do tend to use these, and so don't be scared to use them. The thing to get out of this is that there's a lot of names for this for one, so you might want to, get a chart or look up in Wiki or something and just write down all the names, so if somebody says something you don't get confused as to what it is. It may mean the same thing. So yeah, it's a very exotic sounding scale, and sometimes can sound very aggressive if you use it like as a march or something with parallel triads running all around. It could sound I believe a lot of Spanish music uses this scale too. So there's one more that I'm going to do of these unique modes that is the Dorian sharp 4 B4. And these are the stable ones, the ones that have triads that are not diminished or augmented. So, which, the stable ones, you can create a home plate field where the landing point, the arrival point, and the unstable ones with diminished and augmented chords and whatnot, that's hard to do. So when you're creating chord sequences, so maybe I'll do those as a completely separate series. And I think I'll do that. Just do the stable ones first.